Welcome back to the I'm Excited podcast. I am still here with Tran, and we're continuing our discussion about his role as a law enforcement dealing with the darkness of human trafficking and sex trafficking, his faith journey, and where he's come from, kind of having a religious system in his life to getting to know Jesus. We're talking about all sorts of, we're kind of bouncing back and forth, and this has been a powerful discussion so far. So we'll keep going from here. Thank you for tuning in. So you were in this religious system of Catholicism. That's basically what it was to you. Yeah, a religious system. And it really, you even struggled, what you're saying, with understanding what even that meant to you.
Absolutely.
So your wife comes along, and she already had faith.
Correct. She didn't grow up in faith, but she found faith.
She found faith. And so how does she help you get to know Jesus himself? How did that transition from I'm a part of a religious system to, oh, there is Jesus, Son of God. He knows me, he loves me, I want to follow him. That kind of journey. How did that transition happen?
You know, it's a responsibility of mine. And when I made a promise to my wife, made a promise to God, and it became a multi-role myself. So it's like, you know, I'm going to be a husband, I'm going to be a father. I've got to be a better father. So it just, being married pulled it out of me. It's like, it's a must. You have to operate as a Christian every day in what you do, just everything in itself. And I didn't understand that before. I didn't understand that at all when I went through my single life and when I was dating and do whatever it was back in the day, announcing I was a Christian because I was Catholic. You know, that it didn't make any sense. And I think what did it was, you know, I was taught to follow Christ, that we had all these rules. And when I say rules, that we had to do these kind of things, it was just based off what, you know, my parents could only do the best they could with what they knew in the sense of being a Catholic. And, you know, first time I ever heard I call them freedom prayer, where you just pray. Okay. Pray for things you want. Pray for things.
As opposed to like quoting liturgy?
Yeah, liturgy, set prayers written by someone, and I don't know who these someones are, but, you know, prayers that were written prior, you know, these things were learned, and me going through Catholic school all my life, which I don't think
right?
Yeah, but these prayers were just set, and that's all I knew. The wording was set. You had to memorize them. You had to learn these prayers. But hearing my wife pray, and hearing, at that time we're dating, hearing my wife pray, and hearing just open prayer, the freedom prayer, we just pray for things we want, and pray for forgiveness, pray for favor, pray for you know, someone in need, pray for these kind of things. You know, I mean, I've never heard it before, and it felt free. It felt that you could just talk to God directly, and of the heart of what you want, and of things. And it was such a change for me that, you know, I was baptized as a kid, as a child when I was Catholic.
Okay.
Obviously, you know, first, and then, but getting baptized again in this church was amazing. And being part of this family and knowing that. So it kind of made me enhance my duty in the sense of doing my job much more of what it is, because it wasn't just seeking right. It wasn't seeking right for the one that's for the victims. It was we're fighting evilness on this world. We're fighting evilness from the world. We're fighting all forms, all kinds of forms. And me as a person, flesh, body, you know, yes, I could do the arresting of the human, but, you know, we're not, you know, just like the plane ride I told you, or the plane. It just felt, you know, kind of like, you know, God gave me the power to say, hey, you know what, your thought, your wickedness, your evilness, it's done. It's over. You know, and just, I'm sorry, I'm getting lost.
No, that's fine. So you discovered freedom prayer, which is something like, I love the way you say that, and that you can just freely express your heart to God. And I encourage you, if you've never done it before, understand God is our Father. We are His sons and daughters. Every loving father worth his salt wants his children to talk to it.
Yes.
And so as God's son, you can talk to the creator of the universe directly. I can talk to him directly. Now, we don't want to go before him haughty, arrogantly, boasting at how much we're better than other people. He doesn't go for that. But we have the freedom to turn to him in our brokenness. And you can talk to him directly and say what's on your heart. So I love that you discovered freedom prayer. I love that expression. Did you start reading the Bible on your own, or what else did you do that helped you get to know Christ better?
I started to look at my circle of friends and what they meant, and it wasn't that I started to pick and choose what friends I wanted. I just started to find friendship and people who share the same faith, who share the same path, who have the same, I surround myself with the right people versus the wrong people. And not to say that the people that in my past, I'm grateful that they were part of my life and we enjoyed times, but some of them were non-believers, and some of them, they partook in other things that, that we find favorable. They might have had different, multiple marriages, things of those nature, that we would think that, okay, well, when I started to step out and started to follow the Lord the right way, some of these friends found it kind of unfavorable, like with Don's change, or Don's kind of become this, and and all these kind of things. And like, you know what? Yes, I am. You would still want to hang out, you would follow me too, or you would follow Christ too. But if you don't, then that's okay. I'll pray for you, and I'll make sure that, and things like that. So this is the funny part. As I get to know God more and my family, it's become one of these things where my job and my faith have come together, and it becomes where I wish it wasn't that way, but I've started to not really trust a lot of people, and it's kind of become kind of a thing for my wife, my kiddos, and it's sad because my wife wants to step out and do these kind of things with other people sometimes, and I'm just like, I don't know, and that's a sad thing, but and that's a sad thing too, because even some I've dealt with some people that say they were followers, but yet they're doing the most heinous acts. I'm like, how? What are you doing?
Right. So I imagine you've dealt with people who claim to have faith, claim to be walking with Jesus, but they were absolutely involved in the trafficking or the predating.
Partaken in some of that in some form or fashion, that they've been part of this, or they've been implicated that they're part of this kind of thing. It's interviewed those folks as well, and they too have said evil is who knew better, who definitely knew better. They would say I think something came over me that said I'll pray for you too, but sorry, but good.
I want to ask you this because it may be a burning question on some parents' minds. It's like, if they're in a situation, they're out and switching gears a little bit here. They're out in public. They're with their child. They lose track of their child for a moment, and then they're struggling. They can't find their child. If you think your child might have been taken by somebody, what do you do? Or what? Yeah, is it immediately call 911? Is it?
Oh, absolutely. Call police. Let them know what's going on. Put it out as fast as you can. Every situation is different, but if you're inside of a grocery store, if you're inside some places, obviously there's cameras everywhere. There's get with the management of that facility. Make sure that advise them, hey, my child's been lost. In the interim, if they've called 911, the police are coming. Make sure that all the personnel that work at that location are aware that my child's wearing this. This is my child's first name. Things of those nature, and immediately, basically, if anybody's operating some CCTV or CCTV, I'm sorry, from closer to the cameras to see if they can view this or just things like that, you know. Definitely, yeah, for sure, definitely, definitely call police immediately, let them know that. And better safe than sorry, you know, your kid might have wandered off and it might have been somewhere in part of the store, part of the, you know, or in the bathroom, something like that. And that's something too, I mean, these days, I mean, it's sad to say, but I mean, we live in a world where we've got a lot of confusion in other people and what they are, you know, and they may identify themselves for this and that, you know, and I mean, you may think I'm going to let my child use the bathroom by himself in a public restroom. Don't let your child go to the restaurants. Go with them. Go with them. You know, where darkness could be, it could be there. It could be in that public restroom. It could be there. It could, you know, it could be there. So that's something I want to important for parents. Make sure if you're going to let your child use the restroom, don't just let your child use the restroom. I can't tell you, I've been to restaurants where I've seen a child come out of the bathroom by themselves. And it's like, their parents not with them. Why are their parents not with them at a restaurant? You know, the only safe place a child is with you. That is the safest place a child is with their parents in a public setting, not anywhere else. So,
okay. I want to touch on something that you were touching on earlier a minute ago. So, yeah, you're seeing people of all different walks of life, and they're doing this darkness. So it's got to bring trust issues.
absolutely.
It's got to bring this paranoia almost when you're on the front lines as you are. How do you have talk about your struggle to have friends, to have people bring people into your close circle, because it's got to be a struggle.
Sure, my wife would joke about that and would say that you have to sign a waiver.
That's not a waiver.
A waiver. I mean, you know, I need a waiver from you too. You just you know, just say hi to my kids. You know, you might need a waiver to do that. It's been hard. My wife understands exactly what it is that I have to struggle through, and even here in this church sometimes, you know, I believe everybody has good intentions to be here, but then again, we hear stories and we've read things can happen in the situations. Absolutely, there's a trust issue. I'm the first to admit I do have trust issues. I'm a friendly guy. I'm absolutely. Once you're in the circle you're in, I mean, you're in the club. But yeah, absolutely. You know, I feel that it's caused a problem, you know, with my family itself of what I think, and you know, I'm just too into this as far as that. But I mean, for the sake of my family, and the sake of them, and the safety and sanity of them, I mean, there's no risk greater to take. I'm not taking any risk at all. You know, when the kids get up and go to college, I mean, hopefully by then I've instilled them enough knowledge that I know for them to be self-aware more. I mean, just like I mentioned earlier, my daughter at 7 has already known this doesn't look right. Think about what that will look like, you know, and she gets older with me, having an open conversation with her about certain things that I've learned to look out for, and in people themselves, you know, what are these clues? And I think that'll make her a good, safe, responsible person to be able to operate in the world by herself. Just with what I can teach, not things that she can learn, you know, through school and what her mom can teach her. But as far as trust issues with people, yes, I definitely do. And I wish I wasn't like that. I wish it wasn't, but once again, I wouldn't take a risk with anybody, with my kids, for what we do and how we do things. And like I said, the social circle we have, it's very small, you know. And I think our friends joke about. They say, you know, we're really thankful that we made it. You know, we're in the club, you know. And I said, yeah, absolutely. You know, you get all of me now. You know, that kind of thing. You know, but and you know, and I always tell my wife, you know, we're not. Social media has done quite a bit of harm more than helped our society. I think we've just allowed this open window to our life. You know, things of our life, clues, things that are, you know, that you think you're it's just an innocent video, but pictures on a mantle, you know, things in your home, things like that. You know, you don't know who's looking at these things. You don't know who's viewing these kind of things. You don't know what information that people need from them just to build some kind of rapport with you, because they can say, oh, you went to UCLA, you graduated in 98, well, so did I, or things like that. It's crazy what information that we're just freely given to the public that gives a glimpse. Like I said, it's a big open window to our personal life that we're putting out there, that people will take advantage of, that people will use. Do you want to take the risk of having people to know these things about your kids? What school they go to, what just like these photos of my daughter's first day of school. You're putting everything out there, first, last name, grade, teacher, what school. That's enough information for anybody to learn anything about they want to know about your kid. And then again, know anything about you, your life, and possibly what kind of neighborhood you live in, those kind of things, So I encourage anybody, and I encourage parents to definitely be very careful about those kind of things, You have the power to put blockers up there and put things of vetting nature for people to be part of that, of your life, what they know. So my wife, we have social media, but it's dull as paint dry on a wall. There's
not jumping off cliffs.
No, there is nothing. No, it is nothing there. I mean, I wouldn't even know. What's funny is I have to go through the background so often. And they're always asking, you have social media? So yeah, it's the same thing that you've seen 5 years ago. There ain't nothing. There's nothing new there. So. But yeah, just be careful. It's there. But yes, as far as friends and trust circles and social circles, yeah,
it's a struggle.
It's a struggle. Yeah,
it's genuine. So, someone out there that may watch this, they want to do something about sex trafficking. Maybe they want to go into law enforcement. Why did you go into law enforcement? And what would you say to somebody who wants to go down this kind of road that you've been on in order to try and help fight this fight in the world?
So I got into law enforcement because this is what I always wanted to do. My background, I was a patrol officer for a municipality. Then I became a patrol officer as deputy sheriff. Then moved into a specialized unit working fugitives. And then beyond that, there's a couple federal agencies that basically picked me up and to work alongside them for the past 7 years. So I've done a lot of fugitive work that span across the nation. I've done international crimes that work with things like that, with absconders and with sex trafficking. But as far as anybody else that wants to get in this career, it's evolving. It's evolving. I started this career when we were looking at maps on Mapsco. That's when I started. We didn't have any GPS things on our, and technology wasn't as advanced as it is now. I mean, think about 20 years ago. I mean, just think about what you've done in 20 years with technology. That's the same thing with us. But if anybody wants to get in this career, I would say, there's always, you got to learn, you got to stay up on the trend. And it's something that just has rapidly picked up in the last few years about the trend, about technology, social media, all these apps, things like that, to learn. Because, we've got to learn. Bad guys are using these apps now, so we got to use the apps now. So bad guys are using the apps, so we got to learn. We got to use these apps now. You got to stay on top of it. And I'm one of the, I'm not a dinosaur, but I'm one of the older kind of guys that into this. So I see these young guys coming into this career. They can run circles around me with what they learn with just their social media knowledge of that. And think about that once you add their law enforcement background with that is. That is awesome for them to do that. And like I said, they're already on top of it. But for anybody getting this career, I would say hold fast to your faith, hold fast to your families, pray every day, just utilize the gifts that God has given you, utilize the love for Him, and then you can do this job honorably, respectfully, and you'll come out of this feeling good. Because I know some officers that are downtrodden, they hate the career. There was a part of my life before I came to Christ where I hated this career. I hated it. I didn't feel there's a purpose. There's a purpose for the body to get the bad guy. There's a purpose for that. But to know that you're doing the Lord's work in conjunction with law enforcement, that's a feeling that I don't think anybody can ever feel. You overcome evilness. You won. You're not just taking the bad guy on the street. You're actually winning against, the evilness. You're winning against his oppression. You're doing that. So if you're into this and you want to do this, I would say pray about it. Make sure that this is what you want to do, because it's evil. It really is, and it has a great way of disguising itself. It has a great way of infiltrating things that you would never believe. Like I said, like my daughter's app just got into innocent video game. It's there. Restroom at the church, it's there. In the congregation, it's sitting there. It's just we. Yeah.
No, we could go on a lot about this. And but what about the rest of us? I'm 53 or whatever. I can't go into law enforcement now, and it's just not going to happen. But for those of us outside of that, what can we do to help fight this fight? Now, I'll tell you right now, anyone watching this, number one thing to do, you follow Jesus, help other people follow Jesus. The more people that follow Jesus, the less sex trafficking and human trafficking there's going to be in the world. So share your faith. Help others come to Christ so that they can turn from this darkness, okay? So that being the number one thing. Number two, what can we do to help the situation?
Well, strength in numbers, I say that quite a bit, and what that really means is that we have to think together, not for ourselves, but as for society. If we want something to stop, if we want things to cease, we need to act together. We need to be a voice, we need to be unified in a lot of different things. I mean, we're combating something together. And if we parents, we don't have to parent similarly, we don't have to parent the same. We don't have to parent, we could, one family could like chocolate, we could eat vanilla. We could like our own different things, but we want safety for our kids. We want safe communities. We want to thrive against this evilness. We want to battle this. We need to battle this together. We need to do this as one. We need to understand that, hey, I love your kids as much as you love my kids. We need to treat each other as that kind of distant family. We need to do that. So that means we need to look out for each other. We need to call out things that we see in publications, in the sense of like they say, we see something, say something. We need to do that. I mean, even not, you don't have to be a parent. You could be somebody just knowing better. Just something doesn't look right, and it's okay if you call it out, and it won't be there. It's better to just call it out than not. Better to call it out than not being what it is, and not calling out and it is what it is. And just once again, just for mankind, just for humanity, just for mankind, just be unified in the idea. Once again, look out for each other. We're so close-minded. We just care about ourselves, and we don't really take time to just kind of look around the area, because we all can help each other, help law enforcement with that. Bring about things like that. Bring about things that and we often say that's their business. That's not our problem or things like that. No, it is because what we're doing is exacerbating the situation. We're not helping the situation. We're not stopping it. We're just allowing it to kind of thrive, even if it's dormant. We're just letting it sit. No, call it out to the light. Let it be there, and once it's there, and we can deal with it then. Like I said, if we educate our kids about signs in school, we see kids being pulled away from activities. We see kids that are recluse. We see kids that are not really social. And I would say social in the sense, we got to be on, that we're not, just human nature. We're not having conversations. We're not saying hi. We're not being courteous. Things like that. Have our kids who are believers, who have kids call out and say, hey, reach out to them, say what's going on, and come back and tell the parents, hey, I think so-and-so or Johnny so-and-so or Susie so-and-so might be having some problems at school. Bring that out. And I don't fault a parent for bringing that out first, and if the kid has some kind of social need, that's fine, but, yeah.
So, work together, be observant, be vocalize concerns, talk about warning signs, experiment, and, for people to hear that, oh, whoa, your daughter you're in this, and your daughter has a 7-year-old app and got approached. It's got, it snuck past you a little bit, but you were able to correct it. But then that means how much more, can my child get into something like that?
Oh yeah, something like that, like me being so vetted into this realm, even not, that was an oopsie, not knowing that, hey, an open communication line could be available on this app, that's it. Just pay attention to what the kids are doing, and that made me better. So if my daughter now wants a new app, I have to look at it and say, I can't just agree to it right then and there. I want to look at the app. I want to view the app. I want to open it myself and see what, I want to read. There's all these disclaimers, and we scan through because it's such a long list of what to read, and we just click accept or okay and things like that. No, take the time to read it. See what the app is capable of. See what's in there. See what they're selling. See what kind of information that whoever created this app is giving to the public, that's accessible to the public. And if it's that, do you really want it? Is really that? Does that app really matter that bad to know that your information is being given to somebody else or sold to somebody else or an affiliate or things like that? Things like that. I wish. Like I said, once again, my daughter knew immediately, hey, something's wrong. I'm not going to communicate. I'm going to give this to my dad. So she brought it straight to me, and I was like, nope, pull this app on. We're going to change everything up. We're going to put all these block. I was like, sorry, honey, if it's a little more boring than what it's supposed to be, but this is where it's at.
Yeah. That's tough conversations. The funny thing is, I have this imagery of you like being on an iPad playing Princess Fairy or something like that, and your daughter's like, "Dad, can I play now?" And you're like, "Oh no, I'm checking the safety. I really want to see if this is safe or not." And you're actually wrapped up in the game. That's what I can envision.
And that's really what happened. That's really what happened. It's like, I need to look at this, and give me a couple days of research this.
Yeah.
Then I got to go back to my work computer, look, and see what see the back on. Okay, yep, it's safe. Yep, it's yep.
So one more subject I wanted to get into, and that is the subject of pornography. With your knowledge, how our society tends to downplay it. It's not a big deal. Even the way we're now going out in public, like on the beach, women wearing thong bikinis or whatever you want to call it, and all that. The nudity is getting more and more prevalent. We think it's not a big deal, but what role does pornography play in the formation of predators? What role is it playing in fueling the money that generates that helps this industry thrive?
It's a gateway. It's a 100% gateway to all list of things, everything you can think of. It really is a gateway. It's a shame that we've normalized it. We've created this okayness to it. We've given it freely, and that's the thing that I was touch base earlier about, the apps and things that we can search and scroll and look at what's on our phones. It's so available. This will predate me in a sense. Back in the day where you see these truck stops and you had all these adult stores,
right
around the highway. And, I remember being a kid looking at them and I was like, where are these stores? And my parents were like, those are naughty stores. We don't ever stop those stores, whatever it is. And I remember driving back from where vacation was and road trip, and we'd see people get out there. I said, look, Dad, look at all these naughty men. And I was 6 or 7, look at all these naughty men, going in there. It's a little despicable. And then just think about back in the day where if you wanted a magazine, and they had adult magazines back then, they were covered, and if you asked for one, it's a little bit shameful, but we've taken it away. We've taken the shameness away. We can do it at the price of our own home now. We can look at our fingertips as much as we want. I'm not a narcotics officer. I don't claim to be one, but I always know, and I've worked cases alongside with other entities and that kind of disciplinary. And what it is once this, forgive me, once this traditional thing becomes not enough, they move on to the next. Then they'll move on, you can use your imagination, moves on to something else, something a little more riskier, something more a little risque, something a little more indulgent. It might be foreign, might be foreign to them. Might, just you're saying pornography might be. I'm not going to use the word traditional pornography, but it could be man and woman. Then it becomes woman and woman. Then it becomes man and two. It escalates. It gets into something else. Then, okay, we're moving from adults. Now we're going to look into adults that looks like children. And then once that gets too boring, guess what happens? Then we'll get into things like that.
You start at a certain level of darkness and you get numb to it, so you start diving into deeper and deeper darkness, and that cycle of I'm used to this now, I need something else because it's not doing whatever it was to me before.
So just like a drug user, they may have an entry, like I said, an entry kind of drug, and then when that kind of high isn't as high, they'll up the dose, or they'll go on to something else, or they'll start mixing, they'll start doing other things with other narcotics, they'll start adding this to it, or whatever it is, just to get a different feeling, and then they'll like that for a period of time, and then they'll start doing that. And once that becomes addictive, their addictive nature, they need to have it, they need it, then they'll start going into the whole, well, you know what, I'm tired of watching, maybe I need to start getting into that things myself. And that's when you start finding them looking at ads, and they'll start looking into things where they start actually purchasing. I'm not trying to be vulgar, but that's when they start going into things where they start partaking as a customer, start partaking in those kind of things. And once that's been established and that's kind of been satisfied, then they'll start looking into other things. It's the evil curiosity, and it's evil curiosity that gets them there. And the sad part is, if they knew Christ, if they knew the fear, if they had a sense of, I may use the wrong word, but they're the wrongdoing that they know. If they knew there was a punishment for it, in the sense of like they knew what they were doing for themselves. I mean, the punishment for the law. I mean, I think they're really well aware. Okay, I'm doing something illegal, but to not have the guide of being a Christian, not have a guide of Christ to get into that, and to not fear that, hey, there's a punishment of this at the end of my life. If you don't know that, and you're, it's not guiding you. So that's where I'm at with that. Is that making sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So if they're not guided by it, if they're not guided by the Lord, then yes, they go to some dark places.
Okay.
And yeah. So
I will close with this. This has been, I've loved talking to you. I've loved hearing, I mean, not that we love the subject matter, okay, but just hearing you talk about these things, to me, is very powerful. And I want to leave the floor with you on this one. Someone out there, they haven't committed to follow Jesus. They don't really know Jesus. Or they've done terrible darknesses. We've read about people who've done it, and yet they've turned their lives around. What would you tell them? What do you want to tell them about Jesus and why they should follow them? Why they should follow Jesus?
It is a true guide in a sense of why you're here. It's a true guide of who you are. It's a true guide of the existence of yourself. If you don't have Christ, you're going to be, for myself, I was lost, truly lost for years. And knowing Christ now, it is a game changer. It is a thing that guides you with everything you do, with how you treat people, how you operate in life. For me, as a father, as a husband, as a follower, as a church member, as a friend, as a son, everything about that, it is a guide for me of what to do. Things I used to think that were important, they're no longer important. And for me to believe, and for me to just put all my faith into Christ, it is, the weight's off my shoulder. I don't have to worry about it. It's on Him. It's on Him to give it to Him to feel these kind of things. And I know we have the daily hustle, the daily things, and of course things don't go right sometimes. Laundry may not be done in time, or I'm just thinking on top of my head, things like that. But just your guidance, and it really goes into how you operate just at your job. And I mentioned that before, but just how you treat your coworkers, how you treat your boss, how you treat situations, things like that. I don't think I'd be the man today if I didn't give my life to Christ. And I don't think I would be a husband. I don't think I'd be, just who I am today in the sense, in this career, like I mentioned before, I didn't police well. I policed well, but not to the effect of like, I just basically did the job and done, move on, and it's hard to separate yourself from emotional things with victims and things like that, but knowing that you did the right thing in the sense of knowing you did the work of God in that performance. Like I said, that's astronomical for me to feel that way in the sense like I've done this. I did it. I did what was right. I suppressed evilness or got I hope I said the right thing.
Yeah, you're fine. You're absolutely fine. So look, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We hope this has been a blessing to you. We hope you'll be able to take this blessing and use it to help others. God bless you. God keep you safe. God keep your children safe. And follow Jesus. He loves you with all his heart. Follow the Father. He loves you with all his heart. So thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Till next time.